Wonderful Wednesday is starting back up. We are so excited to be offering this on Wednesday nights starting September 15th. We have several short-term studies that we'll be offering, 2 Bible-focused studies, and then 1 topical study, and then I'll be leading one on how to join the church and how to learn more about the church. So we would love for you to sign up. There'll be a link below for you to click and sign up for these classes. We will be meeting in person. Keith and I will be fully masked in person, and we'll have a hybrid opportunity for you to remote in if you're not comfortable or able to do so. The other 2 will be Zoom only, and we're excited to be sharing this with you. There's some other ideas that we're working on that we haven't quite solidified, but we'll do another video and send it out to you so you'll know what to expect. If you have been thinking about a class or a group that you would like to start on Wonderful Wednesday or any other time, we would love to help support you, to give you the resources you need, the space you need, anything. Please do email me or call me, and I would love to help you get that started. So now let's hear from our teachers, and Donna's going to share about her group.
There are stories in the Bible that we've either read or heard so many times that we're pretty sure we know what they mean. And the parables fall into that category for me. I confess that sometimes when I hear a parable read or preached about, I think to myself, oh yes, it's that old familiar story. But that was before I read Amy Jill Levine's short stories by Jesus, the enigmatic parables of a controversial rabbi. I will never look at parables the same again. Dr. Levine is a professor of New Testament studies at Vanderbilt Divinity School, and she's Jewish. And this fascinating book helps us hear the parables in the same way that first century Jews would have heard them. And she helps us recapture a sense of newness, of provocation, of challenge, and sometimes even of humor that would have been there for the first persons who heard these stories. So if you want to be shaken up a bit and look at parables in a new way, I invite you to join me and other women on Wednesday nights as we study short stories by Jesus.
I'm Terry Bevill, and I'll be leading a class on Paul's letter to the Philippians. This is Paul's most personal, friendliest, and shortest letter, if that matters to you. It's often called the letter of joy, but it wasn't written in what we would call joyous times. Paul was writing the letter from prison, awaiting a trial for his life. The Christians in Philippi were engaged in some kind of dissension within the church. They lived in a Roman colony that demanded allegiance to Caesar, and they were assailed by preachers who had a gospel very much different than the gospel of Christ that Paul had proclaimed. Some of this may sound familiar, and what Paul wrote to them may be helpful to us as we ask similar questions today. How do we deal with dissension and disagreements within the church? How do we align our dual citizenship as citizens of an earthly empire and of a heavenly domain? And what is the gospel of Christ? And how do we live a life worthy of it? I hope you'll join me for this class this September. All you need is a Bible and some curiosity. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesdays.
Hi First Church, this is Leslie Stiggins. I want to let you know I'll be leading workouts on Wonderful Wednesday at 6:30 for 6 weeks. Workouts will be about 45-ish minutes, and we'll talk a little bit about how faith and fitness are connected. All ages and stages are welcome, and you need to bring a mat, bring some light dumbbells or light weights. If you have them, I'll try and bring some extra. We'll be outside in the courtyard unless, of course, weather forces us in. And I can also have a Zoom option as well. Would love to have you again. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you there in the courtyard. Thanks. Bye.
Hey, wasn't that nice? So I'm going to be leading a Wonderful Wednesday group called Serving from the Heart, Finding Your Gifts and Talents for Service. And that's what I'm doing here at the piano, just digging deep, trying to find my gifts and talents. And very obviously, this is not one of them. So I'd like to invite you to join me. It's going to be 6 weeks of actual study. We're going to have an introductory, the first night will be an introductory class where we get to know each other and you'll get your books and things. And there's a potential 7th week, it's optional at the end. And I just thought as we journey together through this, we can decide if we want to have our last one. So that's kind of the time frame of our class. We're going to also be having a sermon series that coincides with this group. So I'm pretty pumped about that. The sermon series title is Stride. Leaving Footprints That Matter. And STRIDE is an acronym that we'll be dealing with in our study together. And it stands for spiritual gifts. We'll talk about the biblical foundation for spiritual gifts and what they are. There'll actually be some time for us to do spiritual gift inventory. And I know a lot of us have done those, but it's always interesting to do them again and just kind of see how we've matured or grown or changed in any way, or just affirm the gifts that we've had before, stuff like that. And then the R is resources. Or I guess the T is first. Spiritual gifts, T is for talents, R is for resources. Those are kind of self-explanatory. I is for individuality, like how we're wired, our personality, those sorts of things. D is for dreams, like passion, what's in our heart, and then experiences. And so we'll be exploring all of these different ways. Discovering, in a sense, who we are, but also who God has called us to be and what that looks like in our life together as the church, how we together, hit our stride and make a difference. So anyway, I'm excited about the class and the content, but I'd really be excited about hanging out with you for 2 months. So hope you'll join me for this Wonderful Wednesday class. And it'll be a hybrid class. You'll have the option to be in person. We will wear masks and we will distance and be safe. But we'll also have the little owl in the middle of the room, so if you want to be at home, you can also join the class with Zoom.
So we have had a lot of folks express interest in joining our church or simply wanting to know more about our church because you've been visiting in person or have been joining us on YouTube for a while. And there's a class that I lead called the Intro to FUMC. And it's a wonderful little class where I will journey alongside of you for 5 weeks. We'll get to know each other, learn about each other's church backgrounds, talk about the history of this congregation, Methodism, spiritual gifts, ways that you can connect in and learn about all the ministries that are going on at our church. It's a great opportunity for you to get plugged in, to learn how to get plugged in, to express what your interests are in the church and I can help you find a place for those interests and ways to connect in small groups and Sunday school classes and all of those things. So would love to have you join me on Wednesday nights for 5 weeks, and I'll be leading that hybrid style. So I'll be in person masked in a room here at the church. You're welcome to sign up to join me for that. Or if you're more comfortable on Zoom, we'll have the owl in the center and we'll have folks on Zoom as well. So would love to have you. It's great fun to get to know you and to have this. One of my favorite things about the church is spending time with you and learning your story, and you can learn about the story of our church too. I'll see you there.